Well, it's back to school time for much of the world, but the coronavirus has, of course, made returning to classes a challenge almost everywhere. We asked our correspondents around the world to tell us how schools' reopenings are going on in their country.
It was a mix of nerves and excitement as the kids at this East London high school headed back for the first time since March. The teachers here tell me they're ready with staggered class times, social distancing measures and one-way systems. But for the older students in particular, the road back to the classroom hasn't been easy. Schools here are reeling from a series of chaotic government U-turns, which left many kids over the summer facing days of uncertainty over how their results will be awarded for cancelled exams. And this new school year isn't bringing back any more stability. Teachers here say many kids are months behind on their learning. They're warning that the knock-on effects could take their toll for some time to come.
Despite a new surge of coronavirus cases, schools here in Spain are reopening these days. Even if it doesn't look like it, it's actually a nursery school behind me. It's located in a beautiful old park, and I was very happy when we were informed some days ago that our son got a place there. But the happiness is now mixed with a feeling of uncertainty. The government came up with a lot of new measures some days ago, but schools haven't had any time to react to it. At least there's going to be a parents' meeting in some days, and we will hopefully find out more about how our son's first days of school will look like during the pandemic.
Students are back in school throughout the whole of China, including Wuhan, where the epidemic has started. Students need to wear masks, there are social distancing measures and staggered schedules, but otherwise schools are supposed to go back to their normal curricula.
Schools, colleges and other educational institutions continue to remain shut in India. But the government has allowed schools to call back some of their staff by the end of this month for online classes and other related work. However, comparative examinations, which take place in the country every year, continue to be conducted despite protests by students and petitions to the Supreme Court for their postponement.
Here in Uganda's capital, Kampala, schools remain closed. What you see here is a reflection of what's happening across the country, right from elementary level to university level. Classes remain closed. The government is not sure of when it will reopen schools now, especially with the rising cases of COVID-19. Now, many teachers have already lost their jobs. Earlier on, the government tried to introduce lessons on radio and television, but sustaining that became a challenge. So many families have already described 2020 as a lost academic year.
There is no one way of reopening schools in the U.S. Here in Washington, D.C., schools like Francis Stevens Elementary remain closed and students continue with online learning at home. Other states have fully reopened their schools, but there kids have to keep their distance from each other and wear masks all day. That even goes for 4- and 5-year-olds in kindergarten. One mother has told me that she will probably not send her daughter to kindergarten this year because of that. With strict rules like this, she says, it feels more like prison.
Here in Beirut, the capital of Lebanon, the COVID-19 pandemic is not the only crisis that faces the educational system. Right behind me is an exhibit of a school out of 160 that were totally destroyed or damaged due to the colossal Beirut port explosion, while the school year is only a few days away. The destruction that was caused by the shockwaves of the explosion aggravated the calamity on residents already suffering from an unprecedented economic crisis.
The German government is ruling out a second lockdown, confident that the current testing, tracing and tracking capacities will be enough to contain the current levels of corona outbreaks. In the absence of a tangible health crisis and with the economy recovering faster than expected, there's now an all-out debate here in Germany over whether the government wasn't too cautious in the first place. A loud minority has been taking to the streets over this. Nationwide, schools remain open, but when it comes to the question which conditions like masks apply, that's still regional patchwork.